So in this battle, I'm using the fighting type deck again, the Groudon deck, because I'm doing a challenge where I have to deal 1,000 damage with my fighting type Pokemon. So to start this battle out, so it looks like my opponent didn't have any basic Pokemon in their hand, and when that happens, you get a mulligan. And what that means is for every time they have to redraw their hand until they get a basic Pokemon, you get to draw an extra card. So in this case, it looked like they only had to do it one time, so I get one extra card, which is nice. I start out with Tympole, which is not a terrible starter. I shouldn't do that. Okay, I realized it. Okay, so I shouldn't have done that because it evolves into if I play this perfect, I should put the draw energy on the Gibble, because I can't attack this turn anyways. Yeah, it's okay. I can't attack this turn anyway, so it doesn't really matter that I have the energy card on Tympole. Next turn, I'm going to evolve it into Palpitoad, where he only needs one energy card to attack. But it doesn't really make a huge difference. I think it would be a little bit more optimal to put the draw energy on the Gibble last turn. So he has Farfetch'd, which for that deck is a great start, because with one energy card, he gets to draw 2 cards. And also in this case, the Farfetch'd is resistant to fighting type attack, so it's a little bit hard to knock him out. I'm pretty sure it resists by 20, and so I'll still do 40 damage with the Palpitoad, so I'm surprised I still didn't use that draw energy. But yeah, so I'll do 40 and then 40 next turn, and I should be able to knock it out. But he still gets to draw, you know, like 4 cards in the meantime, so it's still a great start for him. He has 2 Charmanders on the bench, which is really good. His whole plan is just to get Charizards out. And he has a Ponyta. So if he ends up getting Rapidash with 2 energy cards, the Rapidash is extremely powerful. It does 60 damage with 2 energy cards, and then it flips a coin. If heads, then the Rapidash can't be attacked the next turn. And the fact that he put the energy card on the Ponyta leads me to believe he either has the Rapidash or he has some way to get the Rapidash. So instead of drawing, he decides to attack, which I don't think was the best choice. Unless he has the Rapidash and his plan is to knock me out next turn. So I use Pokemon Fan Club. I get to draw 2 basic Pokemon, so I get Throw and Groudon. Throw is very powerful. Throw is one of the better cards in this deck, because he's a basic Pokemon with 120 HP, and with only 2 energy cards, he does 30 damage, which is not great, but if there's any damage on any of my benched Pokemon, he does 120. And because this Palpitoad keeps hurting my benched Pokemon, in this battle at least, I'm pretty much always going to be in a situation where at least one of my benched Pokemon has damage on it. So if he does energy on Ponyta, evolves into Rapidash, yeah, I'm in a tight spot. Because he's going to use agility, he's going to knock out my Palpitoad, and then there's a 50-50 shot I can't even attack him next turn. Tails, great. So I'll be able to bring out my Throw, add 1 energy card, and knock this thing out. That's the other thing with the Rapidash, is it has 100 HP, which is kind of a lot. So if you get an opportunity where it gets Tails on the agility, you really have to take your opportunity and knock it out in 1 hit. Because the longer it's out, the more heads it gets on agility, it's just much worse for you. Assuming that your Pokemon has 120 HP or less, every time it gets a heads, it's like, oh, I'm just going to knock out one of your Pokemon now. So this Charizard deck is, like, in my opinion, #1 strongest deck in the game. For many reasons, but one of the main reasons is this Charizard you don't need to attach any energy cards to it. It uses its ability where it hurts itself 20, and then it puts 2 energy cards from the deck, not your hand, from the deck, onto Charizard. And with those 2 energy cards, he does 130 damage. And if you wanted to, you could manually add 1 energy card, and then that attack does 180 damage. So you basically one-shot anything. You can one-shot most things with the 130 without adding any energy cards from your hand. And you can one-shot anything that has 180 by just adding 1 energy card to it. And then you would think, oh, well, he can only do it a couple of times, then he'll start to run low on energy cards in his deck because the attack requires you to discard them. But then he has cards in his deck that retrieves things from the deck, from the discard pile. like Brock. Brock's a supporter card where you take like 8 fire type things, like a combination of Pokemon and energy cards from your discard pile and shuffle them back in the deck. So you can just grab like 2 or 3 Pokemon and then like 5 or 6 fire energy cards, and then Charizard could do that like 3 more times. And because Charizard's one-shotting everything. So yeah, he has this Charizard out. He has another Charizard on his bench already. He has a Nidoqueen, which, because the Charizards don't need you to add energy cards to them, the Nidoqueen is setting up. And the Nidoqueen, the Nidoqueen does more damage if you have more evolutions on your bench. And so the Nidoqueen can actually set up and start one-shotting things. So between the Nidoqueen one-shotting stuff when it's set up, and the Nidoqueen has the ability that lets you search in your deck for a Pokemon card. So it's like, it's helping you get the evolutions you need. The Charizard doesn't need you to add any energy cards. And then the Rapidash is 50-50ing you for 60 damage at a time. And there's no way around that Rapidash. It'd be different if it was like, the defending Pokemon can't attack you, then you could just switch. But the only way around it is to switch out the Rapidash, which is hard to do. There's only a couple of trainer cards that can do that. Like Escape Rope works, and I forget the name of it now, but there's one that looks like a signal beam, and it's like flip a coin if heads switch them out. And then there's a supporter card that does it, guaranteed. I don't think I have those cards in this deck. So it looks like this Charizard is going to knock out this Gibble, which is fine. I was just throwing it away. I'm going to be able to bring out this Groudon, add an energy, and do 130. But then he can bring out either the Charizard or the Nidoqueen to knock me out, because I only have 130. I say only 130 as if it's not a lot. So I think I know I'm in a tight spot and I'm going to lose, and so I use that. So I want to Pokemon Communication the Palpitoad to get Garchomp, but I don't want to do it now because I don't want them to know that I have that. I want to do it like when I bring out the Gabite. I want to do it last second. And also, if I wait, there's a small chance I'll just draw the Garchomp anyways and not have to use I can use the Pokemon Communication for something else. Yeah, so I knocked out with the first Charizard. He brings out his second Charizard. Oh, he has another Nidoqueen now. Yeah, and because the Charizard doesn't need energies, and here's the Brock card. Oh, so it's 6, not 8. I apologize. So 6 combinations of Pokemon and energy cards. So yeah, he grabs 2 Pokemon and 4 fire energies. That means Charizard can do it 2 more times. Yeah, then these Nidoqueens are just letting him set up his other Pokemon and getting the right evolution cards. And then, yeah, so the Charizard doesn't need energy cards, so he's manually adding the energies to the Nidoqueens. So, like, even if I could one-shot every one of his Pokemon every turn, the fact that he can one-shot me, and he has the prize lead, this is game over. Like, I'm gonna knock out his Charizard with Garchomp, which, I mean, should be a good thing. Like, it should be a strong move, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I'm gonna get the Garchomp, knock out the Charizard, and then I think he's just gonna bring out a Nidoqueen and get his last prize. And even if that wasn't all true, he's still setting up a third Charizard on his bench. So I think really the only way to reasonably beat this Charizard deck is to, like, set up fast and start knocking him out when he has, like, you know, Charmanders or Charmeleons or Nidoran females or Nidorinas. Like, once he gets the Charizard or the Nidoqueen out, it's really, really hard to make the comeback. Because usually when you are fighting a deck that's, like, your opponent's doing well, it's like they'll have 1 or 2 Pokemon set up and then the rest are not. And so if you can knock them out, you can catch them without not having enough energy card on their Pokemon. They have to start, like, throwing some away. But the Charizards are always ready to go. Okay, so I do finish the challenge to do 1,000 damage with fighting type Pokemon, so it looks like I won't be using this deck for a little while.